Hello everyone and welcome back to the Jim Kroft Podcast, where I explore the intersection between creativity and solopreneurship. Now we're slowly approaching the 20th episode, so I want to say thank you to all of you who have supported since starting last year. You've kept me motivated and inspired, and on the back of this momentum, I'm excited to announce that we'll be taking the podcast to New York City in a few weeks to speak with none other than the legendary Strokes producer Gordon Raphael. There's also some more good news as we've once again broken into the Apple podcast charts this week in Denmark and the Czech Republic. Now, despite the positive news on the podcast front, I've also started properly on YouTube this year, and it's been going, well, disastrously. For that reason, I've turned to today's special guest, Arnulfur aka that Icelandic guy, who is not only a magnetic presence, but also an extraordinarily successful YouTuber. Today, Arnulfur offers encouragement.
Go for it. Just stop watching this thing and just go smash out your videos. If that's
dude,
what
honestly, I'm going straight to the office. It's -4. I know that's nothing to you crazy Icelandic guys. Actionable advice on how to find one's niche.
There is some other weirdo out there who has the same interest as you. So and you're connecting with like-minded people. That's what the niching down is, you know. So you're finding your little tribe.
And tough love on how to thrive in the competitive market of the creator economy.
Just post and don't procrastinate. And it doesn't matter if it sucks, you know. Just push out content, learn from your mistakes, and do it again and again and again and again and again.
My conversation with Arnulfur is a whip-roaring YouTube masterclass that left me feeling like everything is possible as long as you're doing what you do with love.
8 years in almost, and I'm still psyched.
I never knew it could be possible to laugh so much while learning at the same time. So without further ado, let's dive in. And we are in. I am with that Icelandic guy.
The one and only.
The one and only. How you doing, Arnulfur?
I'm doing good. Like, yeah, life couldn't be better. A little bit tired. I have 2 small kids at home, like really close in age. So it's a lot, but I'm happy, man.
Well, I tell you, for me, you're a total anomaly because I've been just researching you and I was like, how does this guy do it? Literally. So I'm really I'm really excited to ask you about your productivity and, really to actually examine that how, because it is amazing what you do. And so look, thank you so much for coming on. What we'll do is we'll just have a little look, a few questions about your life, and then kind of go into your YouTube journey and your phenomenal sort of growth and some of your tactics behind it.
Sure.
And I've got lots of people who are sort of following me, are sort of really interested in these subjects. So I just wanted to ask you first of all, so if I'm correct, you started on YouTube in 2016, but I would just love to, before we go into more recently, just to give people a few colors and a shape of what your life like was before that.
Wow. So, there was a lot of things. I've been self-employed almost my entire life. I tried some different things. For the longest time, I wanted to become a professional magician. Like card magic was everything to me. And that's also how I got into YouTube. We can go into that later. But so I was just grinding them cards as much as I possibly could. And that is a little bit hard when you come from Iceland. Iceland is, I think, the entire population of Iceland is like 370,000. So I was also working a lot of when you're working in the gig economy, not all months are great. That's just how it is. So I was working a lot of different things, different bars, different shops, whatever, that is it, Kind of, we take the story really quickly.
Yeah, no, that's great. Just to get a color of it. So, at what point did the spark for making videos and photography and YouTube? How long was that beforehand? Was YouTube very much coming up with the process of getting into video and photography? No.
So I started creating videos back in, like, as many of us back in the days. I was skating, as a teenager. We were skating all the time, just doing mischief and skating and graffiti and all that things that moms don't like young boys to do, but we do it anyway, So yes. But through that, I remember making a lot of skate videos and editing and all that stuff. So video making was kind of there, but then that just kind of quit, and other things took place. But when I decided to make a YouTube channel, which was basically, I thought like, okay, if I want to do this magic thing for real, I think YouTube would be cool. And then all of a sudden that old love for creating videos just kicked back in. And I understood it really quickly, that I have to make every week. So I committed making videos every week since then. And I have not really missed a week.
And that was 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, 2016.
Did when the sense of the opportunity pinged in your mind, did something kind of really go off? You were like, yes, that's it. That's what I need to do.
What do you mean by that question?
Well, I mean in terms of like when you decided to start on YouTube. I mean, that's very rare that literally from the moment that you started, you never missed a week. So you must have...
No.
So you must have had the sense that there was some type of opportunity that if you really pursued this, that something might be there for you.
Yeah, I get really obsessed. I get really, I like beyond I get laser focused and really obsessed about the most obscure things. Like card magic is so random. Why was I so obsessed about card magic? There are a bunch of other things that I've been so obsessed with. So it was just one of those things. And I used to compete in powerlifting back in the day, and from when you everybody who's been like heavily involved in strength training, they understand the importance of repetition. Nobody gets really strong. You can't get stronger by going to the gym when you feel like it every now and then, and it takes years to get to a place where you're like, okay, I'm strong now. So I think there I really understood and learned the grind of knowing that it takes time. And dedication, and I don't know. I just really liked it, and I understood if this is ever gonna be anything, you just have to put in time. And man, I didn't make any money for years. Still, I was there every single year, and then I made the second channel like 1.5 years in. So yeah, I don't know, just totally obsessed, man. There's no logic behind it,
But it's an amazing thing because I remember you said that you were 5 years into your YouTube journey before you started monetization. Is that right?
Yeah, like of course I was trying, but I like it was not like you probably heard the story of Casey Neistat. He didn't monetize his first 1 billion views. It was not like that. It was not by choice.
Yes,
I was honestly really trying. It was just it took time to just hone in the skills and just I think YouTube. Maybe it's quicker now because people can get kick with short form, but it was just it's such a brutal grind, and it just takes a long time to build a community. So in 2020, I decided to. So we need to back a little bit. When I moved to Sweden, I live in Sweden, and the reason for that, when 2015, I was in a hostel in Thailand, met a Swedish lady, and we fell in love, did a long distance relationship, and then I ended up moving to Sweden. And I had no really connections here with the card magic, and card magic is all about networking, because you can't really call anybody, be like, hey man, I'm a good magician, you want to hire me? People need to see, and then the word of mouth travels. So I started a little company where I sell handmade Viking jewelry to tourist shops. This is my design, I buy them abroad, and I bought like a lot, you understand? And that worked well, and then COVID came, and this is a tourist industry, and had nothing to do, nowhere to make any money. So you just had to go all in on YouTube then, kind of,
Yeah, but of course you built this foundation, and you had the experience of doing the reps before that. So in terms of So in terms of that journey, so let me see, it's 4,000 watch hours that you need before you can actually sort of physically turn on monetization. I think if I'm right, it's 4,000 watch hours in a year,
so.
in a calendar year. So just to kind of dive into that. So if you were to go and set about that, so I saw on one of your last videos. I love your videos. We will get into all of that as it goes on.
Man.
But I love the actionability and the way that you encourage and. you've talked about doing the reps, and you're very frank about the fact that people have to do the reps. So I'd like to kind of conjoin those two ideas, because I've rejoined Twitter this year, and a lot of people are really interested who are following me about sort of how do you sort of get this YouTube game going. So in terms of like taking the powerlifting idea and the reps and the idea of actually setting about, given the saturation and all the rest of it at this point in time on YouTube, which you mentioned in your last video, what would be your philosophy and your approach if you were going after, I mean, beyond the obvious having the love of it in the first place, but in terms of setting out for the goal of those 4,000 watch hours, what would be your advice and tips to someone diving in?
The strategy, and we're assuming that the person is in a niche that they like creating, because that's the most important part, right?
Yes, of course. But let's start at the beginning. Let's go from there.
I would definitely. So you need to talk about something that you thoroughly enjoy, because chances are nobody's going to watch in the beginning, and it has to be enjoyable, you know. So and also, like, it makes no sense speaking about something you don't like. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. And then niching down, I would heavily niche down and maybe try to be a king in a small pond, because YouTube is really saturated. I even think like my niche, which is the photography niche, is so saturated, but you can still find things within photography that where you can like gain some authority. And my friend, he's killing it on YouTube. His name is Olle Nilsson. He's a wildlife photographer, and apparently there weren't that many wildlife photographers. There are some, but it's not as saturated as maybe people that talk about gear. And then I have another friend who he has millions of followers throughout all apps. He doesn't know how to edit videos, and he doesn't know how to shoot them. He edits everything on his phone, and he found a niche that he's a pool player, a champion in a pool, and apparently there were no content when he started like 2-3 years ago with people that were like seriously good at billiard or pool or whatever you want to call it. And so he found a niche there. But what I would do, my strategy would probably be, I would create long form videos, and then I would also create short form videos. And I would create, some people, there are like a dilemma. I don't know what do you think about short form videos? Now I'm going to ask you that question.
Yeah, please, go ahead. I love it. Well, you know, man, you're so on point. I mean, well, you know, I knew when I first met you that there was a synergy here, because I was like, okay, I'm just so no, I mean it, man, because I've been doing. Look, Arnulfur, I'm like, today I started working on the grade of my 6th documentary. That's my own documentary stuff. And one of the reasons I started the podcast is that, I mean, my history as a musician, and I've got so much experience in the art. So I was a musician for like 10 years, and then I pivoted into film and into photography, because it was just so tough and brutal and up and down as a musician. And I was like, okay, this isn't sustainable long term. If I want to carry on doing it, I need to earn elsewhere. So that's been the thing that's really kept my sort of artistic life going on the musician side. But at this, really in the last year, I've kind of, having been like, I'm in my 40s, I'm a bit of an old duffer in terms of social media. Well, I mean, you know, and so I thought this year I started getting really interested, okay, I need to start learning about social media and really start looking at how it works beyond just kind of posting stuff from, you know, occasionally and doing that kind of, that usual thing. And so the weird thing about you asking me about what do I think of shorts, well, I was like, okay, next year I know that I want to lean into social media a bit harder. I see the potential, I see the power, excitement, connecting with people, also for audience growth and making a business. And I just feel sort of like really excited about it. And so I was thinking, this year I've started, in the last year, got a bit more focused on Instagram, and then this year I went on to Twitter, and then I was like, right, okay, I've got to actually start using my sort of primary skill, if you like, next year and get into YouTube, because that's like my sort of bread and butter. And but I've never really made a play. I mean, I was like, right, if I'm going to make a play, then I need to actually get into the discipline of shorts. So what I think of shorts, it was a kind of paradox. I mean, as I say, I'm a guy who's doing documentary work in a world of Snapchat. And I'm like, I don't really I don't consume that many shorts, but I love the idea of it and the format of it. So for me, I'm like, okay, I was super inspired when I read that once you started to put your mind into it and start leaning into TikTok, you went crazy. You said obsession, right? So you were like talking like 4 a day or something ridiculous. And I was like, how does he do that? So I'm excited about shorts. I see the opportunity, but I'm like, how do you develop that psychology to get to that level where you are producing that much? I mean, how did you do that?
So so one thing with shorts, if we just so we finish the question, how I would with YouTube, I think I would make long form videos and do that as my main thing, but I would make shorts to supplement that, preferably a few a week. And I think some people don't like shorts, but I think that if you make shorts that are has the similar feeling, it doesn't have to be exactly the same style, but the feeling of your shorts are so similar to your long that when, like, imagine shorts is like a fishing net, and you're getting people into your ecosystem, and then they click the long, and you can also link your shorts to your long. There's just a click of buttons, so easy. And then I would that would be my thing, and don't make shorts that are totally different from your long form content. Just make them similar, so the barrier of entry is low for people to get into your long. One person that is doing this incredibly well is Cecilia Blomdahl. She lives in Svalbard, in island far up north, and her short forms exactly the same as a long form, just shorter. So it's easy to get into them. But how did I create so much? So I had this business where I was selling Viking jewelry, and it's a wholesaling business, so it allowed me to it's a little time that and then I could earn myself living for little time. I could earn myself living for by not putting as much time into that business, because it's just like wholesaling, and then I could put the rest on YouTube. However, when COVID came, because I was in the tourist industry, that business went totally kaput. I'm in a new country, Sweden, and my girlfriend was pregnant with our first child. There was, in my mind, no option than just going absolutely berserk mode on this. There was nothing other. I was either that or getting a new job or whatever. But I'd been grinding YouTube so long. It was like I was 4 or 5 years in, 5,000 subscribers. TikTok was starting to take off. At the time I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk all the time, like so many of us, and he was just like hammering on TikTok. And he was like, "There's TikTok. There's free attention on TikTok. TikTok." And I was like, "Okay, let's go." And he said 4 a day, and I just did 4 a day. I don't recommend that today. It's a totally different landscape, and I don't recommend it to anyone. I think I just had a burst of energy at the time, and I used it all, and I would not be able to do this right now, even if I didn't have kids. But there was 4 a day, 2 to 3 YouTube videos a week, long form, and then and it was a different era too. I was making these searchable content, not like people are doing today, and then as much Instagram content as I could possibly do. That was what I did, and it worked.
Well, I mean, your growth's been absolutely amazing. I mean, it's also a beautiful story, because it's that type of growth. But what I mean is that people can really relate to that, because I mean, 5 years for 5,000 subscribers, 5,000 people is a wonderful number on YouTube. You did that, you really did the reps, and then you escalated from there. But it's very interesting that your growth coincided with this decision to take it up a notch altogether. And so one thing I'm interested in is that when you wouldn't recommend someone to do 4 TikToks a day if they were really hungry for that space, is that because you're feeling a bit tired because you've been doing so much and you've got kids? But if you were you back then, now, would you say, no, I still think there's a really good opportunity in TikTok if you were to do that level of content? Or what you're saying that you think the opportunity has gone elsewhere?
I think the content has changed dramatically. It's not the same thing. So, and the landscape of short form has changed so much. I'm not that tuned into TikTok at the moment. I post there every now and then, or almost daily, because I do these shorts on Instagram, and I can post them there too, which is, by the way, beautiful that at the moment you can make a short form content that you can post across all the different platforms. Right. It's insane. It's insane what we can do right now, but I mean, it is insane. But then I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure that the 4 pieces of content is the right way to go now, but it could be. I mean, you know what? If you don't have a lot of followers, it doesn't matter what you do. Just try anything. Your goal then is just to go all in and try as much as you can, because you know what? It doesn't matter if it is going to suck. So just go all in. in my opinion. But maybe try it. Why not? Who am like? I'm just a random dude, man.
Yeah, well, no, but with wizardry knowledge, my friend, that's the difference, you know. But it's interesting because you said, well, you made an observation in one of you recently that, well, look, Instagram, the actual organic growth is suddenly really hard again in terms of organic growth on Instagram. But do you have the same perception that there is still the same opportunity on TikTok in terms of that potential organic growth if you were to lean into that 4 times a day, really bustling it out?
I'm not the right person to ask that at the moment because I'm not that tuned into TikTok. I think at the moment for me TikTok is hard. I was speaking to my friends who are crushing it on Instagram, and his reach on TikTok isn't that high, and mine isn't that good at the moment. But Instagram is really interesting at the moment because both reels are going good, and then posts are also performing really well, at least for me. And then also the only thing that I have never liked about TikTok, I have almost 1 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
But it's hard to build the sense of community, and community is almost everything, because it doesn't matter if you have thousands and thousands of followers. If nobody cares what you're doing, then it's like it doesn't matter, and or it's hard to make a living that way, and it just also becomes boring because you want to create something together with everybody, and I've never felt that TikTok is the place where you can really build a community, because it feels like you're posting and then you're trying to get on this For You page to go super viral, and then you maybe never see the creator again. While on Instagram, you have DMs, you have now this broadcast channel, you have stories, which is incredible just to get people to know you more. You have this comment system. Instagram isn't perfect, but it's pretty good when it comes to community building. So I like that platform a lot.
Yeah, I find that's what I love about Instagram, is that you just have that capacity to sort of develop relationships.
You sent me a DM on Instagram.
It was
That's
a
how
love
we
letter.
got to know each other.
It was a love letter.
Sorry, man. You sent me a love letter on Instagram. I read it and I was flattered, you know?
Yeah, well, I was just like, the thing is, I love how you're doing it. I mean, I love the quality of what you create. And also just, it's that spirit of encouraging others that most of all, I mean, there are people out there doing great stuff, but I just love it when you kind of have that feeling that someone is for others. And you have this, it's very interesting. I find this psychological combination between having that capacity to be obsessive about something, but also sort of very positive in your outlook, because sometimes when people are positive, you don't always get that. When people are obsessive, you don't always get that same sense of being, for others in such a way. So,
man, I'm flattered, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. This is, what do you say when the cheeks get red?
No, but I don't say it to flatter you. I just say it, man. It's like, you.
I appreciate your kind words.
Yeah. Well, man, I think it's just like when you're putting something in the world, there are different ways that one can interact and put in the world. I mean, it's quite an extraordinary thing when you actually look at what people to choose in the world and the amount of sort of anger and polarity and hatred and nonsense around. I mean, it is a choice to decide to represent yourself and to give that energy or not. And I mean, I wish more people would make that sort of choice. Not that it's a binary thing between light and dark, but you can make a choice, right?
Of course. I agree with you there.
So in terms of when you're funny enough, I just got to make a reflection on Gary Vee, because it's so funny you said that back then he was saying, you've got to get onto TikTok, you've got all this potential opportunity. I had Gary Vee pop up on my YouTube yesterday, and he was like, you've got to get onto LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where the opportunity is. You need to be posting 4 times a day on LinkedIn. And I was suddenly going,
do it, man. Listen to him.
He's so tuned in, isn't he? Yeah,
he's a master at finding where is the best organic reach, because these apps, sometimes the organic reach is super high and then it gets low, and he's so tuned in to finding where it is. And I'm not on LinkedIn, but maybe I should now post 4 times a day. Yeah, but as Gary says,
But do you still have that sort of? What's your kind of feeling? I mean, I'm just interested about this from someone who's not in that position where you are, where you have that huge and engaged audience. Do you you're very clear that it's about community and about having this sort of this ecosystem. But do you do you like, was community always something that was actually at the heart of what you were going for? So that's one side of the question. And the other side is like, do you remain a hunger to actually grow it? Do you have like an ambition to grow it to a certain scale? Or is it now about settling in, enjoying the ride and letting it, grow itself out organically? Or are you still like, no, I want to keep pushing it. There's something I want to get to.
So I personally, I'm always pushing it. I'm always pushing it. And I think that I could do a better job in creating a stronger community. I see it just from other creators that have like much less like followers than me, but have a stronger community. And I think that would be a good move for me. But I don't know. I can't turn it off. I'm always trying to push it as much as I can. And I when I think about my content, especially on YouTube, then I think like, what is the purpose of this video? Is it to try to go wide? Am I trying to sell something? Then it maybe doesn't matter if it goes that wide, because I'm trying to like maybe have a digital product or whatever. So I want like, there's a sales video, or is it, a video that I really want like niched for some certain parts of my community, or so that's like how I think about that. What was the second part of the question?
Well, I was just flowing on from it in terms of like actually just following on from that. So in terms of sort of YouTube itself specifically, like you said about the sort of capacity to actually meet people and so on Instagram. But if you were someone who didn't already have sort of a big following on YouTube, how would you cultivate a capacity in terms of what you can do proactively beyond actually posting videos? What can you do on YouTube? Because the reason I ask this, man, is because I don't look at YouTube as a social platform, and I'm sure I'm wrong in that, because I've seen you talk about it differently, and I was very inspired about your words on that side. So if you're someone with the sort of where I'm at with like on YouTube, I think 1,200 subscribers, how would you actually go about beyond actually posting videos and replying to comments and the rest of it? Would you actually have a strategy for reaching out to people? How would you do it if you were starting out?
One thing that So I would, if I was starting out, as I said before, I would make long form videos and short form videos. And because I'm starting out, you don't have a lot of community, so you're just trying to like go wide. And then you have to think about, there's so much with YouTube. You have to think about your thumbnail game. You have to think about your title game. Like the first thing before you make a video is really to think about the packaging first. Packaging meaning, I'm sure everybody here is listening, or a lot of people who are listening knows about this, but thumbnail and title. Why? Because that's the first point of where people will click a video. If you spend a week creating a video and then you don't really know how to, where the thumbnail and title is, it makes really no sense, because it needs to be strong. On top of that, if you have a good thumbnail and title, you can also create hooks based on that. So you can really think that the thumbnail title is the first hook, and then you can like clickbait. Clickbait is such a negative word, but it ain't negative, because you're just trying to get people in your video, and then you can like you can really the English word is
draw them in.
Yeah, draw them in, but also you can deliver on the
deliver.
Clickbait.
Yes.
If you have a good thumbnail game there in the beginning. So in terms of community, I think just replying to all of your comments, getting conversations going. One thing that I really want to start to do, and one thing my friend, his name is Kalle Flodin, he's a full-time YouTuber, does really well. He goes live almost every week. And that's really where you can go deeper with your community, because he's just like if I was here, but he's live streaming with them and talking to them directly through camera. That is a fantastic thing you can do to go deeper with the people that are already watching your things.
Yes, no, very nice. Well, one of the interesting things that I find sort of with like something that has been a very big learning curve for me is coming from the arts, where there is a degree of exploration, and everything you do isn't focused towards an end, if you like. It's often about this exploration. I'm not meaning this in good or bad or a commentary on it. And it was so interesting for me because you say it's like, well, everyone here knows about making the thumb and the idea first. Well,
maybe
actually,
they don't.
That's the thing. Well, what I've noticed. But what I've noticed is that people who have a content mindset really get this idea, whereas artists, it's much more, well, no, you're just in a process and you're putting out, the exploration and what you do. And so for me, I think that's been like a really interesting idea. I mean, I've been, as a sort of musician, putting out bits of content, for 10 years on YouTube, but never concerned about YouTube. I was never even browsing on YouTube till a couple of years, and I went through this massive breakup just for the pandemic, and suddenly found myself as this sort of like, lonely monk living alone during this awful pandemic, and just kind of like, well, what, I create stuff during the day, but you're tired and at supper, well, you're not going to create anymore. I'm not much of a Netflix guy. So I started watching YouTube, and actually that's when I sort of started getting really interested in the space. And it's just such an interesting idea because obviously, when someone's marketing something, they have a very specific end in mind. And they're thinking about the psychology of the consumer and all this type of stuff. And this isn't to say that sort of, artists are, better or anything else than marketers. It's just a different way of doing it. And one of the things I noticed was that I was so outside the framework of, in a kind of naivety about actually how you market. So over the last sort of couple of years, I've really started kind of getting interested in this. And actually what you say about creating the idea in the thumbnail, it's such a fascinating idea to me. So maybe you could just give us, develop the idea a bit for any of us who, because the audience here is really a lot of sort of artists and struggling artists, just to give them the form of that idea.
So firstly, this is just shows you how obsessed I am with. I just think, okay, of course, this is just a basic YouTube strategy. Of course, everybody has to know it, but I do understand that not everybody is thinking about YouTube and content 24/7. So sorry for that, everybody who's listening. But on the other hand, so this is just a basic YouTube strategy that I think about now. As I said, think about YouTube and thumbnail first. And the way if you just run through my process, I have a huge list of video ideas, and this was a game changer for me when I made time specifically designed just for coming up with ideas. So and then have a huge list, and it doesn't matter. Just like when you're writing whatever, you get writer's block. Just write whatever. It can be bad ideas. It's nobody's going to see these ideas. You just as much as you can, and then from those ideas you can pull. You maybe find some nuggets there, and then I start to work on it that way. I don't always make the thumbnail first, but I'm trying to be dedicated. Not dedicated. Like what's the English word there? The
conscientious.
Wow, English is sometimes hard, It's
you do an amazing idea. You do an amazing job, man. What was the rest there? So with the content generation, so we're talking about sort of gravitating towards the thumbnail and the idea. So with the content generation, how are you actually capturing those ideas? Do you have a specific moment in your week where you're like specifically ideating, or are you just grabbing? And are you dropping them into Notion? Do you have like an external brain?
I have a Notion. I have a Notion. So I am very, very unorganized. I don't want to show you, like, this frame looks good because I made it look good. The rest around here, just a mess, and my brain is a mess. I'm like a bulldozer going on like all in on something. So that's, if there's one thing I could maybe which would like accelerate me to new heights, was if I could be organized. So, but with the ideas, I just... I wish I had Friday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I do ideas, but I just make sure to write down, to make time for it any time that time of the week. There's no specific time. And then I just sit down. Preferably, I like to do it at a cafe because then it's just a different environment than not here in the studio or at home. And then cafes are so nice when you're writing, There's something about it. You just sit down and I write down a bunch of ideas, and then I do scripts too, or bullet points.
So do you have a regularity with when you go to the cafe?
Nah, just it all depends on what you're doing, what the weeks look like, if there are sponsorship videos or other videos. And And again, I just also want to emphasize this is just one YouTube strategy. It might not be the best for you. I mean, there are people crushing it that are just doing their own thing. And I think at the end of the day, just like be you as much as you possibly can. All the nice, like as soon I tried to speak English without the rolling the R's for a long time, and then I just went like, you know what? Fuck, can you swear here?
You can go swear away, brother.
then just said, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna roll the R's, and people started loving, like, hey man, I love the accent and all the little quirks that is you. I mean, it's so cliche, you know, but nobody can copy you, so be you. Don't try to be anybody else, and people are gonna love it, you know, because and some people. They're quite frankly not going to love it. And you know what?
Yes.
That's okay.
But that's interesting. So in terms, but that you're also something of a paradox because, you know, you don't have that regularity of a system. You've got the kids there, and yet you're religiously consistent about publishing, or so it seems. So
I'm religious about that. You have to do that.
How does that work? How does that work? How do you do that without being extraordinarily organized? Because a lot of people have the will and they've got the idea of consistency, but the thing that becomes the flaw is that they don't have a system behind their consistency. Whereas you're just a raging bull who gets stuff made. How the hell do you do it?
I don't know. Like to me, it seems just so basic. I mean, like it's like, oh, it's obvious. But at the moment, I post daily on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, and then I post one long form a week. I try, and I maybe I should do more. No, I think one good video, not one like proper that takes a whole week to make. How do I do it? I just do it. You know, there in my mind there aren't any options. You just do it. And how do I have time when I have the kids? I mean. Brother, it's 8 p.m, Christmas is around the corner. I'm here in the studio chatting to you about content. You know, it's
love, right?
You have to just to sacrifice. Like, I don't play. I'm a grown man with kids. I don't play computer games. I don't watch things that like. Of course, I sometimes every now and then watch a movie with my lady or whatever. But like, no, like as little as I can because I really want this and. Yes. I'm just so hungry for it, you know, and I'm 8 years in almost, and I'm still psyched. It doesn't mean that every day is extremely fun, you know. Some days are more mundane, but you know. And if there's one thing that you who are listening can get out of this podcast, or like understanding how I work, then I would say like just host and don't procrastinate. And it doesn't matter if it sucks, you know. Just push out content, learn from your mistakes, and do it again and again and again and again and again.
Thoughts on quantity and quality in regard to YouTube.
Quality and quantity. So quality content in quality content in like big amounts. That's don't put out shit, you know, but don't be like, but do the best you can.
Yeah. I love your algebra.
So like do the like, and I understand that it's hard, you know. I'm a one-man show. If I can do it, then you can do it, you know? I'm like, of course I can do it.
So are you editing it all yourself still?
Yeah, but the everything I've up until the point is I've edited, but I recently, I'm experimenting right now with a short-form editor. So that is, and I'm still not 100% how I like that, because maybe I just have, after all this year for editing everything, I'm control. Like it's hard when you're so used to doing everything yourself and then trying. But I'm experimenting with a short form editor because I think that could free up some time. And if we speak again later on, I can tell you if that experiment was good or not.
Oh, well, I'll come back to you in a couple of years very gladly, and I'll tell you how my journey's gone. But let's say in terms of the shorts, do you go for it do you actually shoot a short every day, or are you shooting the longer form video and carving it out? Like, do you have a twin strategy, one for long, and then you're doing the shorts along the way? How do you do that?
So if you want to do this, as much as I do, you need to batch film your video. I do not turn on the camera for short form video unless I have at least 10 video ideas ready to go. That is 10 that is scripted, because it takes time just rigging everything up and just getting in the mindset. So when I'm in the chair, it's just like putting on the camera and going for it, you know? You save so much time, if I'm going to film one and then I'm going to put that in the computer, start to edit, then I film another, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I film. So batch filming is everything. And for long form, it depends on what type of long form I'm doing. If it's like a video that is when I'm having my camera set up here, you don't see it, but it's here in the studio and it's rigged up and I'm talking about something. Like it's a talking head video, then I try to have 2 ready. It takes me maybe 30-40 minutes to film them, and then I can just film them back on back, 2-3 videos. And then I have a catalog of videos that I can edit. But then again, long form videos can be different. Sometimes I want to make something more comprehensive. Sometimes I want to make a little bit more of a story. Sometimes I want to go out and do something like bigger, and then I don't do that. But if it's a talking head video, like the shorts, 2 to 3 longs, and at least I don't turn on the camera unless I have 10 videos ready to film in the short form.
And will you edit those all at once? Like, will you have 10 videos done by the end of the day?
No, not all at once. I then organize them, and then once the A-roll is finished, I film. So if for those of you who don't understand, the A-roll is the main camera, the main video, and then I go and film the B-roll, the supplement, the footage that I put on top. So I just do that systemized, just film that I have it in the folder, and just maybe I'm a little bit organized, but I don't want to show you how my desktop looks like. It's a mess.
But we're discovering the system within the system when this is fascinating stuff.
Yeah. So then I just create all these folders and I have everything structured with like numbers, so it's easy to find. And then I just go in the first one and do the B-roll, and then I'd have to maybe run around the studio or film the B-roll, and then just put that in. So when I start to edit, everything is just ready there, and then I just put that in the program. I edit, and I just do the next one, because I'm also in the space of editing, and it saves so much time. You can just go through it like, and also if you send it to like with short form and sending it to an editor, then he just gets that file, and he also has an access to the Notion, so you can see what I was thinking with the scripts and bullet points, and just go for it, So.
Did you always have that capacity? Did you always have that capacity for concentration? Because obviously, like, let's say when you're editing, if you're going to be trying to get sort of 10 done or near to 10, that's a big ask. I know how much concentration then focus that takes. So are you very zoned in and zeroed into what you're doing? Like you turning off the phone, being in a different room?
HDHD is a superpower, You get can't. I don't like to. I was diagnosed many years ago. I don't like to take. Okay. I don't take the meds because I don't like them. But how that works when you have those of ADHD or ADHD, when you get something that like excites you for real, you just get laser focused. That's like boom, locked in, and you just do it. Because it's so like it's so fun. Everything else, like paying, like the tax things and all that things. It's just and school. That was hard, man, because I didn't like it. So. But this, when you like it, you just get like zoned in. And I'm sure a lot of you who listen can understand that.
Yeah, but something I really enjoy about your shorts, and this is something at the moment I'm trying to make a sort of plan for next year, because I'm actually going to make my sort of first concerted effort with YouTube, if you like. And I was thinking about, okay, I'd like to try and get to doing a short a day. And then I started doing a couple of experimental ones just to kind of get in the vibe and sort of see what my process would be. And then the thing that I actually struggled with was keeping them short. And something that I've really found like inspiration and interest in yours, it's like, okay, Arnulfur, they can be that short. I mean, the content is always a bit longer in terms of you've got great B-roll, which is like your as good as your A-roll is what you're saying. But you keep the script super short and on point, don't you?
Yes. Yes. I don't think people have attention span on the internet, and so people are constantly thinking about when they should click away or click to the next video. If you just see a good retention graph on YouTube in long form, it's like if you get above 40-50% of the people watching, you did a really good job. Imagine that in cinema. If 50% of the people were like left the room before the end of the video, it wouldn't happen, So we're dealing with a totally different world where people are constantly clicking away. And on short form, it's shorter. And I don't think you have to waste time there. And then with the long form, it's similar thinking. In the first minute, I try to keep it pretty tight. And then after that, we can, I'm letting my personality and everything shine through, or just like talking to people. But I'm not saying this is the best thing. There are people crushing at the moment who just turn on the camera and talk. You cannot definitely do that. You don't have to be like religious about some sort of strategy. just create what you want to create, in my opinion. This is what works for me.
Do you have any tips? So, because I read that so if I'm correct, you're not actually using a teleprompter, you're working from bullet points, right, when you speak?
No, I'm working from bullet points. So I'm part scripts and part bullet points. Scripts when I want to keep things as tight as possibly can, and then bullet points. The reason for me with bullet points, it works really well when I worked a lot on stage with the magic, so I was doing stage shows with magic things, and for me, working there with bullet point and a script was good, but I wanted to hone on stage. I wanted to be able to step out of the script when things got spontan, because there's so much like no, I'm not talking about card magic. There's real human magic when you get spontan and just emerge in the conversation with people or something happens. Even I can imagine being a stand-up comedian. You have your bits, everything is super tight, but sometimes things arrive, situation emerge where you can get off the script and be a little bit extra funny there. And I'll allow myself that also on camera. So, and that's why I like bullet points so much, because when you're reading scripts, you can get really stale, and you don't want to be stale. You want to be relaxed, just a conversation like me and you are having now. I want it to be the same feeling as you were my friend. And you are my friend, but if you're my friend, it's just hang out, If somebody is around me, I want that. I want you to feel that. I'm just talking to you that way.
Yeah, and I always feel that one with your videos, of course. Do you have a tip about, so let's say you're doing one paragraph as this sliced paragraph, and then you're stopping, and then you're going on to the next paragraph. How do you link the tonality of the ending of that paragraph onto the next one? Because something that I found when I was trying it this way was like, I made it work fine, and you can use the editing tricks, kind of like one going in over the other and all of that type of thing. But do you ever actually think about how you're ending with a certain lilt in your voice? Did you ever think of that? Yeah. So of course. How do you do that?
In action, it can be a little bit hard to think about that, and I understand. So when there's total script, I understand. I can read from a phone when I know I'm going to put B-roll on top. But experience, I think, is the answer here. It just comes with experience, and then in the editing, you can hear that. And in the editing, you can totally hear when things just sound wrong or the paragraphs linked not great with each other, but this is just down to experience. And man, even just speaking to a camera in a room where you're alone, it feels so strange in the beginning. It is ridiculous. Even that you took up your phone before and was like, "Hey guys, blah 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 blah," and I'm taking photos like, "Look, I'm here on a podcast." It is so ridiculous. It is so strange, It's such, and it's okay, but you're gonna get so used to it, and things, that's just, it's just getting used to, and with the. Yeah, I think I answered your question there. I hope.
Yeah, you do know you're on a roll, man. I know you've had a long day, and I'm just enjoying. I can't believe we're already this far in.
Yeah, no worries. And we're on a roll right now. Like,
oh man, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it so much.
Kids are sleeping. It just whatever time you have, man, I'm here.
Well, look, that's amazing, man. I just like, for me, something that what people are struggling with, who are either my age, who are in their 40s, but also I think there are younger creators who are, let's say, a decade before where I am, who didn't get into the content game, so to speak. And I think that there's so much potential out there in the creator economy, which is why, in this kind of rather paradoxical way, as someone sort of, who's older, I'm getting so deeply interested in it and trying to learn about it myself and then pass on that education to other people. But I'm wondering about what would be your sort of words of encouragement, but someone who knows that they've got experience and potential in whatever it is they're doing, but they've got this kind of, maybe they're struggling or mentally, or maybe they're just feeling like, oh damn, I missed the boat and I just should have got in there earlier. What would be your words of encouragement to those people about giving it a shot?
There is never a better time to stop than to start than today. Today is like the best time to start. It's only gonna be harder tomorrow or further along the line. I mean, people always think they're late to the boat party. Peter McKinnon, who's the biggest one in my niche, 5 million subscribers or 6 million, I don't know. He thought he was super late. People are encouraging him or telling him not to go start on YouTube because it's so late. It's so late. It's already 2016. It's been around for 10 years. So I would say, like, don't listen to the naysayers and just do it, and just enjoy the ride. It's gonna be weird in the beginning, and it's okay. I would just push that content and have a good time, and don't overthink it. I would not go in with a massive plan and be like, I'm gonna go this, because you don't know. Maybe you find you start with an idea of like a broad niche within the photography, and then you might maybe figure out like, hey, this is what I like more. Or maybe you're not just a photographer, you're doing whatever, you're doing cooking, whatever. So just go create content, create lots of it, and have and enjoy the process of creating. Because it's in my opinion, it's just so fun. When I get an idea from like what I love about YouTube, when I get an idea, I create the idea from my head and put it out to the world. There's no filters in between. There's nobody who has a saying in it. It's just straight to you guys. You get it straight to you guys, and you get what I'm thinking, and I absolutely love that. But man, with you, like so one thing that I've been looking at is like podcasts. You can create so much videos with podcasts right now, and just video podcast is going so good because you get like what we've spoken for almost an hour now, and you have so much content. You can clip all of this content to create shorts, and then it's video too, and you have it across the on your RSS feed or whatever it's called there. I mean, I think it's pretty like it's sick. I think you podcasters have it easy, because you can just turn on a camera. I don't know why you're whining. You should just go.
I love it, man. I'm getting my ass majorly kicked here. But look, man, like in terms, I like it. I like the tough love, man. I'm getting fired up. But so what did you do when you were doubting and no one was watching? Because I mean, you went through those 5 years and you gritted it out to 5,000 subscribers. So what did you do what did you do in year 3 when you were on 2,000 and you'd already been doing it for 3 years?
And my friends have university degrees and they're starting to get good payment, and I'm like, why is this pretty woman together with me? I'm just creating YouTube videos. Why is my partner here? I don't know. I've spoken to her with this a lot because she's seen the entire thing, and like, man, you remember those days when I was just like, fuck, is this ever gonna work out? Is this like a lot of doubt, self-doubt,
Did you speak to her about it?
Of course. She's and my friends, I remember just friends who are killing it, getting degrees and everything, and I'm just like, this YouTube thing is gonna work out, I'm telling you. But what did I do? It was just, I mean, there's you can pat yourself on, like, get a little bit like, am I doing right? And then you just get to it, I mean, you can cry for a little bit. It's okay. It's no problem. It's totally understandable. I mean, it can be hard. It can be tough. At least it was for me. And just go do it. But
it's very inspiring because it's always that thing where it's so easy to underestimate what you have inside yourself, like the knowledge inside your own mind, through your own experience and what you can do with that. And I mean, it's so interesting. Like for me, I've been getting, I sort of like the first period of my life, as I said, I was as a musician, and I was from the underground right up to a major label.
What type of music were you doing?
A singer-songwriter with a 5-piece band, sort of rock and rolling it, really, cool. Great times. But I mean, everything from being out the back of the venue, in the cold, in the snow, all over Europe. I mean, doing it the old-fashioned, know the grind, exactly. And then, at some point, as I said, I've pivoted into the freelance stuff. But then I sort of got to the point, sort of in the last year, where I was like, okay, I really want to set up a company. I want to set up a business because I know that there's opportunity out there. And what I really value about what you're saying is just about when you have that sense. And for me, I was like, well, what would I create what would I create a company in? I'm not I'm not a businessman. I'm not. And then I was like, the more I started thinking about it, I was like, okay, I've got all of these skills, all of this knowledge. And then I started getting interested in this kind of, in the digital economy and in the creator space. And then just something, triggered in me. I think there was that line, the ideas are the new oil. And, I love ideas as well. And it just pinged in me. So the thing for me, what's so sort of nice speaking to you is just I can see the pathway ahead, and it's that kind of like deep breath, not before you go, because I'm already in it, but I think I've realized from speaking with people like yourself that I'm not saying that it's about levels, but I think there's something about the digital economy where there is a certain commitment to it that it takes. And it's very different. Like, I know how to get a documentary made, and I know the sacrifice and the time that it takes, and the loneliness as well that it can take. And
of course,
but it's about whatever it is you're doing. It's like you have to recognize the conditions of that which you're going after. And so I'm really heartened by your story, and just about that. Also that thing about just, if you do commit to it and you have that love of it, even if the world thinks you're absolutely nuts, like like some of your friends did, there's the potential results out there, and you had that self-belief, right?
I think so. I mean, there's 50 Cent, King 50 Cent had the get rich or die trying,
Yeah.
That's what he said. So I'm like, yeah, you do what you like to do, or you mean, I mean, it's enjoyable either way. If I would not make a decent living doing this, I would still be doing it, just not in this volume.
But you're very smart about, I mean, you really do. I mean, some of my favorite videos that you've done are actually not about the gear; they're about the entrepreneurial side, because you're very smart
Thank
about.
you.
Well, and so could you tell us about your approach to having, sort of inverted commas, a diversified portfolio in the creator realm? What's your portfolio?
It could always be better, and I'm constantly there are many things. I know that you are in a newsletter thing. I think that it blows my mind that I should do that, because it is a direct connection to your audience. So beautiful. Yeah. But I sell digital products, things that I use.
I got to butt in there, man. It's my turn to tell you off. I'm like, man, you've got 1 million TikTok subscribers. You've got 300,000 on Instagram. You've got 150,000 on YouTube, and you've got digital products, and you don't have a YouTube channel. I mean, Dan Coe would be roasting you.
Yeah. I know. And I listen to all of you guys, and I listen to. I know you had. What Jay Klaus is his name, Jay's you had
amazing.
him on the podcast.
Yep.
And I listened to his podcast, and I'm like, dang it, I should do that. I should.
Well, just do it. You've got to do it. Come on, we got to do it, because I mean, seriously, man, it's like not only for the digital products, but not only because, I mean, dude, it's like you saying, it's like you roasting me about the podcast. You're writing the scripts every week. So
I know, dude, I could show you my note. I've even thought about this, because I could show you my Notion. My Notion has hundreds of scripts.
Dude,
honestly,
but you know what? Ready, but the funny thing is, man, is that it's the same rule applies. So I had this other guy called Josh. So one of the guys that I follow is this guy called Justin Welsh. He's got a wonderful newsletter called The Saturday Solopreneur, and every week it comes out. Yeah, and I tell you, it's amazing. It's the one that I would say subscribe most of all, if as a solopreneur like yourself. But the amazing thing is that every single week it comes out, and it's between 2 minutes and 4 minutes, and every single week you come away from it going, that's what I needed for my business or what I'm doing. And the thing is every week I find myself writing my newsletter, and it's like takes 40 minutes to read, because I get so deep into it. So the thing is, actually, it's a bit like you said to me about shorts. If you can make it short and punchy and deliver one actionable bit of advice, that's actually the best thing that you can do with a newsletter. I would just start smashing it out, because it will be an unbelievable...
What would you do it about? So where I get stuck here, and this is just like, I can see my insecurities when it comes to this. It's like, would I make it about? Because I'm constantly thinking like, how niche should it go? That's like my life. How niche? Should it be about the entrepreneurship, or should it be about photography? Can it be about photographers that want to be entrepreneurs online? How can I do one that is like about a gear and then another one about? You understand how?
I do. But I think the key thing because you are not at the point that I'm at. So I'm actually thinking next year that I've been thinking about changing it from the Jim Kroft newsletter to Creative Insights, because I think because I need to get it really focused, and I know that I've got knowledge in that realm to give, and I know I can make it actionable, and also I just need more time because it's taken me too long at the moment. But I think in your position it is different. I think the only thing that is of importance with you is the actionability. So it doesn't matter whether it's like, oh, I would always put, everyone else will tell you to put on the Sony 20 millimeter onto the ZV-E1 because it's full frame. But my tip would be is you put on the 11 millimeter 1.8 because it's a tiny form factor. That's what you should do. So it doesn't matter. It's just the actionability. Or for instance, man, I went through your entrepreneurship and income, and it's like, well, just what we're just talking about there. You said the key is diversity, and then you're like, I've got affiliate links, I've got the lots. You tell me about it, but the point is, is that you tell me those 5 things, and you keep it short, and you go, these are the things to have in mind. Simply have them in mind, and give them one tip on each one, and that's gold dust. When I was watching your video, I was like, this is 20 minutes of such great stuff. And rather than researching for the podcast, I was going, that's what I need to be doing. That's what I need to be doing. So it's literally, you've got it all in there. I would just start using it, and I would just twist. And the thing is as well is that in terms of the other income stream, you've got the ultimate funnel, because at the end of each one, here's my loot package. You've got 17 digital products, and you smash them in every week, and people will buy them because your work looks great.
Thank you, man. Yeah, but if you talk about my income, it's the digital products, it's affiliate marketing. I work closely with brands such as Sony, DJI, and other top-notch brands here on the planet. I like sponsorship deals. They're really lucrative, but I'm really picky. I'm way too picky. I know that I just see my other friends who are like making bank on working with a lot of brands, but I don't want to lose my integrity, and I don't want to. I don't want to push on the people that watch me and trust me. I don't want to push on nothing that I'm just like 100% dialed in and really, really love. I have a camera bag that I love. I contacted the company the other day. I was like, hey, I have a video idea. I really want to make it. Should we can we do something together? Sponsored? And they were down for it. And then I have 2 courses online and a bunch of these things. It's the classic, what we do here when you're creating your own thing online.
Yeah, but it's such an opportunity. This is the other thing that I've been sort of like realizing. I was like, wow, I've got all this knowledge, and this just the idea of digital course. What are your 2 digital courses on?
One is about the introduction of TikTok, and the other one is like how to create content with your mobile phone.
Great.
But the TikTok course is outdated in my opinion. But I did it in collaboration with a big company, so I don't own it totally, which was good back then, but I want to make another one. I have 2 courses that I'm just slowly writing the skeleton for and the scripts for. One is going to be about lighting. I'm pretty good with lighting setup, and then the other one is going to be just Lightroom editing. I'm a beast when it comes to I know I'm saying that I'm great at something myself, but I'm so good when it comes to editing photos in Lightroom. I'm really good at that in my opinion. So that's.
Well, they all look so good, so I think I might have to go. I'm on the lookout for a new set of LUTs just to try. So I think you might have made a sale here.
Thank you. But I also want to say, I really appreciated you say that you like when I talk about the business behind it, because I really like talking about it. I don't know how much I should speak about that when it compares to speaking about photos and whatnot. I'm also struggling with what I should make,
Of course, but that's a wonderful thing. But I think that's exactly the thing. Look, it's a little bit like the actionability. I think if you love the entrepreneurship, I think that's a really interesting direction for you. Because the thing is that that side, I was like, some of the videos that I love most of yours were some of those older videos, which were actually on entrepreneurship, and which have got, I was like, wow, this is like one of his best videos, and this has got like 3,000 views. So the interesting thing about, I think that was like the 2020, or was it the 2022 one on entrepreneurship and YouTube? But I was like, wow, I think what could be interesting for you, is to actually lean into the entrepreneurship and solopreneurship side. And, you know, I mean, I don't know if you've got the stomach for another social platform, but I rejoined Twitter this year, and there's a huge niche for solopreneurism. Hashtag solopreneurism, hashtag build in public, and everyone's sharing their knowledge. Now, I left Twitter because it was X now, because it was sort of, you know, so full of division and all the rest of it, like, you know, 8 years ago. But then I went back onto it and I was like, wow, there's really like a niche here, and it's really people kind of sharing their stuff. So the kind of crazy thing is that I think that you've got a whole potential other market, because you have, you know, that proven track record, that expertise, and also, you know, I mean, you know, since you've got that hunger anyway, that's an unleveraged platform. I mean, one of the things I was inspired by listening to you was I was like, 4 TikToks a day. He's using TikTok as the Twitter for video. And I mean, I know that you're making high quality stuff. You're not chucking it out, but the people that I follow are they're chucking out, you know, 4 to 8 posts per day on X, which is really high quality. And actually that was really triggered something in me about, okay, with TikTok, that's how you think about it. It's like it's a release mechanism for ideas. Whereas like on Instagram, I don't want to spam my followers with 4 videos a day, because actually I'd probody get more unfollows.
I wouldn't do that on Instagram, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But TikTok is different, because it's like Twitter. You're just like smashing out things, and people see it or not.
Yeah, no, but that was, I mean, for me, like, you know, as somebody who's I just joined TikTok this year, but for me, that was such a revelation moment, because I was like, that is going to be really helpful in terms of, because I generate ideas, but then I kind of get stuck in the long form. So a big part of my journey is just trying to slim all this stuff down. So that, you know, and all the guys, you know, with yourself and with Josh, and Jay's a bit different, because Jay's really focused on the long form newsletter, and then everything follows out from there. But it's just so interesting this thing you're saying about its quality and quantity. With that, honestly, man, that hit me in the heart. I was like, that is such a great idea.
It has quality and quantity. And by the way,
but for you'll feel like it's ridiculous. When I was watching your video, I was like, that's it. That's how you describe it.
It's quality and quantity in massive numbers. But I want to do the. I want to lean in more into the. I want to lean into more into the solopreneurship thingy, and I might join you guys on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it.
I'll follow you straight after this. I'll be spamming you.
That would be sick. But it's the same barrier for me. I'm like, I think this is just a basic human barrier. When you're not familiar with something, this is just, this may be, if we're not familiar with something, I'm just like reflecting on how I feel at the moment when I'm thinking about going into something new. Then you're like, how does this work? And you make it hard in your mind. I'm already like, did we have to learn something? I was researching how to send out newsletters during the days, like MailChimp, Beehive. It sounds hard, but... Yeah. Just like I think anybody who's listening here is like YouTube, Instagram. It sounds hard. Just do it.
But, well, that's it, isn't it? And then
take the first steps and do it.
Yeah. I mean, I've just loved that, like you said, that sort of with my newsletter, I had it for years, but then finally I got consistent this year, and I've just got.
How many you put out a month?
I put it out every Saturday, but I've got a paid tier, and then next year I want to get more disciplined about the paid tier. So there'll be a paid one every Wednesday. But what I love is about that, and you've got this. It's about that schedule. It's that way in the modern world. It's like making like a discipline of self about staying true to the commitment of putting out every week. And what I've found is that that's actually started improving like how I go about life, because it's like you're kind of you develop a skill for shipping stuff.
It's like brushing the teeth.
Right.
It's like brushing the teeth. You just do it. There's no question. They're like, it's like brushing the teeth. You don't go like, you just do it and get on with it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because for you it's like, right, you're like sort of, I don't have any problem with procrastination. Everyone has the opposite problem. The majority of people procrastinate. I
have
like
it too, It's of course, but it's just like, of course, maybe it's just different level than other people, but like it's just how do I explain this? Of course I procrastinate, but it's just I feel like I'm like I feel like I'm not smashing it. I feel like there's so much more I can do, so.
But I love the fact that you've still got that hunger.
Of course, but because there's so much more I can do. I'm always constantly thinking like, how can I do this better or anything, and but man, like if you guys are listening and you're thinking about like, what should I do what I'm gonna do next week with the newsletter. Just dive into it and be like, okay, it's fun to learn something new. It's scary, I know, because I'm gonna do that with you guys, but it's just learning it first,
Amazing, man. And so look, just a couple last questions. So I hate to do this to you at the end of the day, but I'm really interested about how you actually think about SEO and video. Could you just give me some colors with that?
So you mean like for YouTube?
Yeah, for YouTube, how do you sort of make your video optimized for search engines? And
so tags don't work anymore. They say it themselves. So it's about title and the description. Now, how I think about my videos, I think there are many different colors. But if you just take it very simply, I either think about the video that it's very hot at the moment to do these clickbaity videos, where it's like, let's say I'm reviewing a lens. Just Sony 20mm f1.8. Instead of saying like the Sony 20mm f1.8 review, that would be really good for search engine, because people search it will pick up. You could say something like, could this be the best lens, wide angle lens, or is this that? Then people see that and like, what is he talking about? So sometimes I do that, and sometimes I think like, okay, this is just going to be a video that is really search-based. The problem with that is that they usually don't work great right off the bat, because they're a little bit boring, they're not that sexy, but like just the title and the package of it. But usually later on the line, they've picked up a whole lot of views. And my channel is, the foundation of my channel is search engine optimized content. So when I was doing this 2-3 videos a week, I was simply just doing, there are videos on my channel that just like one feature on YouTube, one feature on Premiere Pro, one feature on Lightroom, one feature on like, how do you do this? So when people are searching, they get my ginger face popping up there and being like, hey, this is how you do that. That's it, So I think in this day and age, I would do a mix, or that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm not saying that I know all the questions here. I'm figuring out as we speak, or as I'm going along the way. But this is how I think about it at the moment, is that I do a mix. Sometimes I do the search engine optimized, and then, as I said, then the title is super important, and the description, the first thing in the description, because that is what the YouTube is picking up.
That's the information giving in the description. The first thing in the description.
So I don't know how the algorithm works. They don't have the public, but apparently the first paragraphs matters what you write there. And
Good to know.
And just check it out when you search on YouTube. You're gonna highlight also the words in the first paragraphs in the title, or first in the title. You search for a camera, it gets the title, and then also you can see the first sentence in the description, and usually the keywords you search for are highlighted there. So that matters. That matters a lot too. So yeah, I think. But one thing that is super interesting at the moment, and this gets me all fired up, is that you can actually do this strategy, this old school strategy of, like I call it old school, like what I was doing back in the day when you're creating all these information based videos. These SEO videos about one feature in your program or cooking or whatever you're doing. You could do that with shorts. So what is absolutely blows my mind at the moment is that short form videos, they come up in search. So when you search on YouTube, you get a bar of shorts. Also when you search for something, it also gets up on Google. Which is absolutely insane. So you can flood the internet with these 10 to 1 minute information-based SEO videos that are then linked to other longer form videos in your YouTube library. You're building a library of knowledge. Share everything you know.
So it's so fascinating to me, because I mean, this is the thing. See, my sort of interest, in the arts and creativity is sort of like, it's very kind of generalized. And I find that such a powerful tip about using your knowledge about I wouldn't think just on my own to make a video about a lens. But I go onto YouTube all the time looking for a lens. And it's like, well, why do I watch you talking about that lens? Because I like your expertise and how your stuff looks and the energy that it gives. And it's just so interesting. And I'm like, but that's how, different people think. Because, you're dialed in. It's like that. And then you're getting people coming into your ecosystem because you've got the intelligence and the knowledge of the system about that's how I get them from SEO. That's alien to a lot of artists.
That's so so I am big on that because I know, and I'm telling you, like, at the moment it's not that it's not what people are thinking about, but I also think that because everybody's trying to go wide with these super viral titles, I think then it could be an opening for people to dial more in SEO. If everybody's doing one thing, you can do a little bit another thing. But man, SEO, doing videos that people are searching for. What do you do if something breaks down in your home? What is the first thing you do? You go on YouTube and see if you can fix it. There's somebody who's made a tutorial about it. So that Icelandic guy, which is my channel, is just a bunch of tutorials on how you can take better photos, edit better photos, or whatever when it comes to. Do you think I enjoy doing a lens review after lens review after lens review after lens review? It's not like that is. Sometimes I be like, yes, it's nice, but it's just done because I know that there is people are going to watch it and I can provide my value on it, and that's why I do that. Like sometimes I don't want to do another gear review. I'm like, oh, not another gear review. But I mean, but I'm not saying I not enjoy it. I love the process of creating the video and editing and everything. But
I understand.
But sometimes you understand. I don't know. I think that Icelandic guy has like 600 or 500 videos or something online, and then my magic channel had like I think over 100 videos. So there are lots of videos. It's not always fun,
So no, but it's about that discipline of doing. But it's also, I mean, and this is something that I'm trying to get a little bit more au fait about. It's like, okay, you love this thing, but there are also ways that you can instrumentalize the system so that you can progress and people can, you're helping people find your work who would love your work by giving them the stuff that they actually most want, and then they might find the deeper ideas and the rest of it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So a question, because I was thinking, with YouTube that I was, I've thinking about sort of 3 different sort of pillars of content, if you like, and I'm going to start talking about gear, just the gear that I'm using and the rest of it. But I was like, would your recommendation be, look, buy the next bit of gear and do a review on it and just get going with it and make that a part of your thing? I mean, the reason I'm asking is because I'm always like, I'm umming and ahhing about, my sort of dream camera is the Fuji, GMX system, getting the 100. Oh God, I forgot what it's called, but it's just such an amazing camera. I mean, obviously that's a very expensive example, but let's say something like the Osmo Pocket 3. For instance, would your advice just be, look, just grab the gear if you're doing a bit of the gear stuff and just start smashing it out?
100%. And do smash out some content, and if you don't feel like an expert in it, don't try to be an expert. Just go make a video how a beginner is. Like a beginner tries out this camera, talk about that perspective, or do some video tests, or like. There are endless of ideas out there. If you had the camera for half a year, do a video that is like half a year later. What are your thoughts about it? Put on the camera and talk like, hey, so I've used this camera. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Be real with the people. There are so many, when I review a video, my mind is always like, okay, how can I optimize to get more content out of this? So if I get a camera from Sony and it's I want to review it, I want to make a review, it's a camera that actually it really excites me, then I think okay, I can put a GoPro on my chest and go out and do a POV video because I need the content, I need the photographs, either way, and I need to test the camera, so I can as I'm testing it, I can film that. I have a POV video. I also hopefully I get some nice shots. I can put them on Instagram or I can put them in a community post. And then I also have B-roll for my actual review. So I'm constantly thinking how can I get as much content as I can out of I'm squeezing out the content.
But honestly, that's one of my big takeaways. So look, man, I think that's us coming to the end. But I would just love if you wouldn't mind if I could just say, look, I think your message is implicit in every sentence you've said in this. But if you were just to say one thing to everyone, summarizing, or just to, like a little message to the world, just to give someone a bit of, I want someone jumping off of this and saying, damn, I'm going to go and start my YouTube or go again. Like, what's your message?
My message would be, like, there's no time better than to start now. Do it and be yourself and have fun. And just, be yourself and enjoy the process. Enjoy the ride of learning and, like, enjoy the ride of, like, just building a community. I'm here today speaking to you, which is so good because I decided one day to pick up a camera and start creating videos. So, I mean, the opportunities are endless. And if you feel like the window is closing, no, not the entire world is even connected to internet yet. We're 8 billion here, and what the beautiful thing is that no matter how weird your interest is, there is some other weirdo out there who has the same interest as you. So this big connect, and you're connecting with like-minded people. That's what the niching down is, So you're finding your little tribe. So and I love it. I mean, I absolutely, I like it, and go for it, man. Go for it. Just stop watching this thing and just go smash out your videos.
Dude, honestly, I'm going straight to the office. It's -4. I know that's nothing to you crazy Icelandic guys. Look, man, thank you so much for giving me the time. I think I'm literally so inspired. So I can't wait for other people to hear it. And I feel like I made a friend, man. Thank you so much, Arnulfur.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. We'll stay in touch. Take care, man.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Or you too.
Bye-bye.
No problem.